Win as one. EA Sports FIFA 21 sponsors Saturday Social.
So, Joe, we've done goal of the season. It's time now for our inaugural Saturday Social end of season awards. So there's a lot of categories we're going to go through. Do you want to explain to the guests what categories we've gone for?
Yeah, we got 5 categories to go through with the boys. They've each picked a winner for them. So the first category is going to be player of the season. Then we've got manager of the season. We've got disaster of the season, which is my personal favourite category. We've got viral moment of the season and standout moment of the season. So a couple of different, slightly alternative awards. But we are going to start with player of the season. Now, I can see both of your choices on screen now. Chunkz going for Diaz. James going for Harry Kane. James, let's start with you then. Harry Kane. Why have you picked Harry Kane over Ruben Diaz, over maybe Bruno Fernandes as well? Was a shout in there?
Yeah, I've gone with Harry Kane because of the team that he's been playing in and how well he's done. I think often you go with often people go with the player that's kind of won their league, and I understand that totally. But for Kane to score 22 goals, 13 assists, and he might well have the most goals and the most assists at the end of the season. The last time that happened, I think, was Andy Cole. 93, 94, which is a long, long time ago. And so then you kind of put that player in this Spurs team in the season that they've had. In terms of like dragging a team along, I think Harry Kane is right up there. And like, of course, there's always that bias with England players. I understand that, but he has been absolutely lethal. I just think he's had an amazing season.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough.
Let's bring Chunkz in on this. I think looking at what a lot of people are saying, I think it will be one of Kane or Diaz. You've gone with Diaz, so just explain why you think he is your player of the season.
Can't lie, James actually done a good job of convincing me that Kane was in that case, I'm gonna make up some stats and say, you know what, Ruben Diaz most aerial duels won this season. Don't quote me on that. Most interceptions, actually, to be fair, as well. Now, all jokes aside, I think for me it's just traditional in terms of like when someone wins the PFA award, like the best player of the season, it's kind of just like they are the best. They are the team that won the league. Because like the year that Chelsea won it, I feel like Sanchez had a better season than Hazard, but Hazard still won it. So it's just kind of like, you know what I mean? You just kind of have to go with who's better. To be fair, even the fact that with City, they didn't win last year due to the fact they had that defensive issues and they had to put Fernandinho in the back with Laporte. Laporte was missing sometimes. And I feel like that's probably why they missed out on the Premier League. And they brought in Ruben Diaz and they just look so solid at the back. Like they literally, I don't know, without them, they definitely wouldn't have won the league, in my opinion. So, yeah, just due to the fact that he came in and has done a solid job, looked good next to Stones, and he's only 23 years old, I just had to put him up there, man. He has looked outrageous. He's one of the best centre-backs in the world already. So, yeah that's why I picked Ruben Diaz.
Unbelievable player. Chunkz, who do you think had a bigger impact? Van Dijk when he came to Liverpool. Obviously, Van Dijk's injured now, so we can't compare them for this season, of course. But Van Dijk when he came in at Liverpool, and you saw that the season that he had, for Liverpool in recent times prior to his injury, or Ruben Diaz for Man City, who do you think's had a bigger impact? Would you say?
Ruben Diaz, due to the fact that when Van Dijk's first season, you see now Ruben Diaz has already won the Premier League and he potentially can win the Champions League within the first season or coming. So that's a bigger impact than because you've gone from what did they win the year before? They've won the FA was it Carling Cup, and now they've potentially
Carabao Cup.
the Carabao Cup.
Yeah.
And now they've come in and they've potentially done the Premier League and the Champions League, which is and then that's means a treble basically. Yeah, 100% Ruben Diaz.
Okay, right, let's move on to manager of the season. We can have a look at what Chunkz and James have picked for their standout manager of the season. Now, interestingly, you've both gone for the same manager. So, James, going to come to you first. You've gone with David Moyes. So just explain Moyes over the likes of Pep Guardiola. Obviously, a lot of people talking about Tuchel, Bielsa, Rodgers. I saw those sort of 5 names have been ones that I've seen listed on sort of social media. Why have you gone for David Moyes, mate?
Well, I'm intrigued to hear this "oh my word" explanation from JT up there. Well, I think David Moyes has done unbelievably well. Like, if you think of the expectations for West Ham, they were expected to finish. They were 17th last season. Like they were terrible, and he's kind of come in and energized the whole squad. I think if you remember in the summer, I think Diangana went to West Brom, and West Ham fans were just like up in arms about it, and I kind of understood it at the time. But what he's done there with the squad that he had, Souček's been brilliant, Kufau's been brilliant. And then in January, that smart move to bring in Lingard, who just took them onto another level as well. And so West Ham to currently be 6th, to have been in the Champions League places or, in and around it going into the last 3 games of the season. I don't know how you can go for anyone else. I honestly don't.
Oof. Okay. Well, I'll give you my reasoning that I don't think it should be David Moyes, is that I think they massively underperformed last season, which is the reason they finished so low. And yes, I agree. They have overperformed this season and Moyes has done a fantastic job. And I think if you'd have got him into the Champions League spots, I would have agreed with you. But I think if Rodgers wins the FA Cup, which he has now, and gets top 4, I think that's a superior job. And I think if Pep wins a treble, you can't not give it to a treble-winning manager.
Well, I would think often for me, it's about expectations. So I would say, right, with the Man City thing, I get it, but that squad is like outrageous. I think we know that.
Yeah.
And the expectations are for them. I heard somewhere someone talking about, if the fact that if they can't do the quadruple, is that a disappointment this season? Like those are the expectations when it comes to Man City. And with Leicester, I love Leicester, as good as they are. I would say they've got probably 4th, if not the 5th best squad. So their expectations are quite high as well.
But I think Rodgers makes them that good. Like I think personally, I think his coaching is that good. He's progressed so many players in that squad to be finishing even close to the top 4. I think people would say is a pretty good achievement, and to win the FA Cup as well isn't exceptional. Which for me, I think I'd have
Chunkz, come on,
Rodgers second, Moyes third.
Now, to be fair, I agree with James in terms of obviously the fact that they've gone from 17th last season. I know they're underachieved, but it's always like everyone's expecting at least like a 10th, 11th finish, and the fact that he managed to do that with the squad he's had. Because now, for comparing the squads that Pep has and Brendan Rodgers has, you can tell there's a huge difference, bro. Declan Rice was out as well for like 4 to 5 weeks, and that was one of their best players, and they still managed to not look bad. You know what I mean? So they've had some injuries and they've still managed to, keep up with the times, and the fact that one more point and they're getting a Europa League spot. Like, you kind of have to respect what David Moyes has achieved. And but I hear what you're saying with Brendan Rodgers, and maybe I overlooked him, because obviously if you get an FA Cup and a Champions League, that is a crazy achievement. So yeah, it would be between David Moyes and Brendan Rodgers, but then let's see if Brendan manages to clutch that Champions League spot, because they do like to fall in the last minutes, last stages. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But for now, I'll say David Moyes.
Good man.
All right, good little debate there. Let's move on to the third category then. This one is disaster of the season. Now, you two have gone for the 2 North London sides here. James, let's come to you first. Tottenham Hotspur. Why have you gone with Spurs?
I had to write it down, actually, because a lot's happened, Smithy. I don't know if you remember it all. So that I think it's more the fall off, really, because December, Spurs are top. They're top of the Premier League. They've got 2 strikers that have scored 17 and 22 goals this season, yet they might still finish 9th. And Chunkz is going to explain the problems with Arsenal, but Arsenal could finish above Spurs still this season. You had a couple of months ago, you were top of the league. You had a proven manager who'd won everything. You were in a League Cup final, and you were going to be in a Super League. And now you've not got any of those. You're also in the Europa League and lost to Dynamo Zagreb in that. And when we get to the end of the summer and we start next season, you might not have Kane, Bale, Reguilon, who are your best players. So, yeah.
I feel like is this either a personal attack on me? You just got quite,
Hey, these are facts.
Listing everything. I don't know why you need to list everything down.
A bit of a heel turn. It was just a bit of a heel turn. I wasn't expecting it, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Well, let's on that note. I mean, it hasn't been a great season for Spurs. I think a lot of fans can agree with that. Chunkz, you've gone with Arsenal though, and you've been quite honest on this show today. You've gone for your goal of the season's against Arsenal. Your disaster of the season is Arsenal. So, as an Arsenal fan, I'm gathering that you're not particularly pleased with how things have turned out.
No, definitely not. I feel like I understand I have to get with the times in terms of it's not the same Arsenal from 04, 05, but it's the fact that you never expect Arsenal to have such a fall off. Like, we could have potentially finished 9th this season, which I don't even understand. I can't comprehend, because this isn't something that we should be doing. You know what I mean? And to be fair, what solidified it for me was that Europa League semi-finals against Villarreal. If you saw I didn't move from that room for about 10 minutes. I was just looking at the screen like, are you guys being set? 1 goal at home? You know what I mean? So we could have potentially been in the Europa League final this season, and I would have still not been happy, but then that could have potentially got us back in the Champions League. But I feel like with no European football, we're gonna have to get a thinner squad in terms of like losing players. So now already we've got rid of Willian and David Luiz, and then I feel like the squad will just keep getting thinner, because we're not going to be playing European football, so we don't need such a large squad. But then now what's going to happen when we get back into the Europa League spots or the Champions League spots, we're going to have to now just sign a whole new team. And I feel like it's been a bit of a mess. So I don't know what's going to happen with Lacazette either. So this season, obviously, we haven't had the worst performances against the top 6 sides because that's the thing we've always complained about. But we just forgot to play well against the other 14. So it's just like our other 13. So it's just it's been a bad season for us, honestly. Man.
Yeah,
it
it's
really
interesting you say that your worst moment was the Europa League thing, because my worst moment for Spurs was our Europa League exit as well, because I think both of us thought that there were expectations there. But anyway, we've got to move on. Viral moment. Let's have a look at what you've gone for. Chunkz has gone for the European Super League. James has gone for Keane and Redknapp. Cool. So if you're wondering, Keane and Redknapp, what moment that is, let's remind ourselves of this viral moment.
Kane and Son, you take them two out of that team. Spurs are an average Premiership team. And I'm being polite.
I don't think it's an average team, no, or an average squad. It's full of internationals.
Does it make you a top player because you're international?
I don't know about that.
Jamie,
still good players. Well, they play for good countries, though, Roy. What you're saying, these aren't good players, then? You said Alderweireld plays for Belgium. He's not a good player. But I tell you what, Reguilon is as good a left back as there is in the country, so I think you got that one wrong.
Why do you think Real Madrid let him go?
So you're saying he's not? Does that matter? Oh, because Real Madrid let him go, that doesn't make him a good player.
Yeah, but how much did they let him go for?
Country, not a good player,
how much did they let him go for? It's not as if they paid 60, 70 million.
They might be able to buy him back, actually.
So you're saying,
they bring Doherty in. Doherty's playing for Wolves, who are the last year have done well and they're expecting to compete. They sell him to Spurs for 15 million. Doherty. Does anyone really think Doherty's going to make Spurs a top 4 team?
What about the left back then? So you're saying Reguilon's not a good player now? Is that what you're saying?
No, he's a good player.
You can't see a lot of Spurs.
He is a good player. No, he's a good player.
Just take a breath, Jamie.
Very good.
No, I don't think we need to even ask James why he's picked that, because the proof is there. It's a great moment. So I think we can move straight on to Chunks's, because that was very entertaining, wasn't it?
Social media, bro. I went uproar. We know why I picked, bro. I don't really need to really get into depth, because that was definitely the most viral moment of the whole season. So yeah, ESL, and it was gone within a week.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that one. Right, let's very quickly wrap up with our final category, standout moment of the season. Chunkz has gone for Alisson. James, you've gone for Leicester winning the FA Cup. Very quickly, James, why have you picked the Leicester FA Cup?
I just think it's an amazing story for Leicester to be in League One. You know, was it 2009? To have won the Premier League was amazing, but to go and win that FA Cup, to win that FA Cup final with fans in the stadium was just pretty stunning, and the goals all right as well.
Yeah, it's a great cup final that. Chunkz, you've gone with Alisson's header. Let's have a reminder of this moment and talk us through why you've gone for this moment, because this was unbelievable, wasn't it?
It's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. I remember watching this game and I knew that Liverpool had to get the result to even try and come back into that top 4 spot. And the fact he scored it in the last minute, and he's a goalkeeper, and he's done it obviously after his father's passed away recently. So you saw him getting very emotional after the game, and the interview was probably one of the best interviews I've seen as well. So yeah, no, honestly, Alisson, top keeper, potentially one of the best keepers in the world, and he's actually scored a worldie. That's not even a normal header, by the way. That's an incredible header. Like, if a striker was to score that, they'll be proud of that. So yeah, Alisson should be very proud, man. And they could potentially get the Champions League.
I have to say, I think that Alisson moment and the interview after the game, really poignant. Very, very good picks there.